sHiZ iLOG, Saturday. I learned of the events of yesterday, Friday, December 14th, 2012, and at the Sandy Hook Elementary School. Sandy Hook, right? I do apologize. I'm getting all these names wrong. And I'm just sorry I got the camera facing forward because it's night right now, so you're not going to be able to see me anyway. But when I first heard about that, it was unbelievable. I mean, those of you who remember the 9/11 thing, and when you first heard about it, if you weren't there in New York, of course, you heard about it on the news, or someone was telling you about it at work or something, or someone called you on the phone, and you're like, what do you mean two planes ran into two different buildings, or the two buildings of the World Trade Center, and then all of a sudden it collapsed, and then what do you mean that another plane flew into Pentagon, and what do you mean that a plane crashed in Pennsylvania? All involved with the attacks. And it was unbelievable. I mean, it was just hard to fathom that human beings can do something like that. What do you mean that someone drove a U-Haul truck in front of the Oklahoma Federal Building, blew up, and killing hundreds of people inside that building? That happened several years before 9/11. What do you mean someone who thought he was the Joker walked into a theater and shot up a lot of people? What do you mean that some kid walked onto school and started shooting at a bunch of kids, killing a lot of kids and teachers? And then, what happened yesterday? A young man, who, for whatever reason, in fact, there isn't a reason, really, killing 20 kids between the ages of 5 and 10, and killing adults, 6 of them, and then killing his mother before he went over to the school. It is speculated that he struggled with his mother. His mother owned all the weapons and had them locked up. This is all speculation and still under investigation, but that he struggled with his mother, and I guess the mother felt threatened and released the weapons to him, and so that she doesn't go to the cops, he shot her in the face. Went to the school where these kids, barely alive, long enough to experience life. Between the ages of 5 and 10, I'm a kid. I was a kid, right? You remember when you were a kid, you really didn't know anything about life. You didn't know anything about anything. You're just being a kid. But then as you get older, you begin to learn some things. You begin to learn how to take care of yourself, learn how to do things on your own, learn how to take responsibility. And those children never had the chance to prove themselves. Half of those kids will become successful in life, the other half may not. But the fact is, they never had the chance to prove themselves as being decent human beings on this planet. One of them could have been president of the United States. Another one could have been an astronaut. Another one could have been, just a good citizen, a doctor, a lawyer. Another one probably would have been a drug dealer, but it doesn't matter. The fact is, they never had the chance to prove themselves. They never will. One of the victims was the principal of the school, who was going back to further her education so that she could learn more about, her career. She was the principal of the school. She probably could end up being the superintendent of the whole school district. She was moving up in the world. And as far as we know, she was an excellent principal. And it's just such a heartbreaking thing when you know that there are people like that out there who could ruin people's lives. The parents of those children will have to forever remember this, because it's if you lose a loved one, it's bad. Either way, either way you look at it, it's bad when you lose somebody. Doesn't matter how you lost them, okay? Whether it's old age, health issues, murder, or or whatever the case. They just died on the job, whatever. It's bad, and it doesn't really get publicized, or it's not on the news, because it's just one person got hit by a car, or whatever the case is. Old age, they die. It's not big news. It doesn't end up on the news. But this incident was so huge, so humongous, like 9/11, that for a very long time after this will be forever remembered, because every time they turn on the TV, it's going to be that news item. And it's going to be a constant memory of this awful, horrific event. If you ask me, in my opinion, I think that's worse. Because they can never turn on the TV. If I have a TV now, I can never turn on the TV, because it will just be a constant reminder that my loved one was a victim of that incident. Here's another food for thought. Can you imagine the feelings of the mother's dead now because he killed her, but the other family members of the perp, the father or the siblings. I'm not sure if he had any siblings or not, but the brothers and sisters. Oh no, he did, because the dude, the perp, had his brother's ID on him, so that it can be, he can be misidentified. But they found out that it wasn't him. But the fact is, the brother was apprehended because they're trying to find out if he had anything to do with it. But here's the thing, though. That brother who had probably, don't know, the investigation's still going on. We don't know. But at this time, will have to forever be looked upon as the bad seed of society, even if it was proven that he had absolutely nothing to do with it. Think about this. If you have a brother or sister and they've gone out and did something this horrific, can you imagine how your life will be? You just can't. Your life will be just simply fucked. Just think about this for a second, how bad this will be for you. Because then you will have to go to your job, and that shit's on the news. Some guy hunking. That shit's in the news. So when you go to your job and the people there are going to look at you funny. You're going to lose your reputation. You can be the best employee there, but forever and ever, you're going to be looked upon as being the perp's brother. The victims of those the victims' families and friends, whether they were the 5 to 10-year-old kids or the adults, the teachers, the principals, the workers there, the ones that got hurt or killed, will have to live with that memory for a very long time. It takes a long time to get over something like that. And even so, you never really get over it. You just move on. Those people will move on in life, but they will forever remember what happened because it's in the news and it made history. The media doesn't help this at all, but the media is there to keep us informed as well. But they don't tell us about every accident, death, incident, shooting. They only tell us what hits the news, and this one did. 20 kids, 6 adults, his mother, also an adult, so that's 7 adults, and then, being a coward, killed himself. I really feel bad for the family members of that dude because, really, you don't have to face the music anymore. You're dead now. You are gone. You do not have to face the music. At least the theater guy, he has to face the music. He's the one who has to face the judge, face his peers, the jury, and get a sentencing. A person who did something like that, I want them to suffer. I'm sorry. It's not like he did that, like someone did it, they caught the guy, but it's not really him, or they're trying to prove it's him. They already know it's him. They already know. It's already identified. So they can't really prove that it wasn't him. Okay? The thing is, I want that person to suffer. Put him in prison. Let him get, treated like that show Oz. Raped, beat down, fights. Let him experience life in prison. Let him suffer. Then let him face the music in front of his peers, sentencing him to life in prison and a possibility of a death penalty. And then, while he's sitting there waiting for death to happen, he's sitting there thinking about what he did. Just like that theater guy. Of course, the theater guy was crazy, so he doesn't really give a damn. But the fact is, he's going to be sitting in prison for a very long time before he's even facing the injection or the chair or whatever they do. Coward, man. I mean, he was a coward. I just can't. There's no justice there. There's no justice. Justice was not had because he killed himself. Now, if he had ran out of that school and the police had him cornered and he decided to do something and he got shot by the police, that's justice. Because at least he didn't take his own life. He didn't do it on his own call. He did it on someone else's. Like he had to face the music. Was either to give up, put the gun down and be arrested, or go down with a fight and get killed. But the fact is, he took his own life. Coward. And then the family members of this guy will have to face the public their jobs. Can you imagine? Let's say this happened to me. Okay, I don't have a brother, but let's say my brother did the same thing. Okay, then I have to go to my job. Let's say I was still working at Whole Foods. All this shit is on the news. Everybody knows that I am the brother of this guy. I got apprehended. Then I got released. And then I had to go to work. Everybody at my job, my reputation will be shot. There is no way I can even go to. I wouldn't be able to go to work anymore. I couldn't. I just couldn't. There's no way. I just could not face my peers at work. I just can't do it. So then my career is at stake. My reputation, I can't even go home because your neighbors will be on you. Somehow, yeah, you're the brother of that guy. We're going to beat you down because they're mad. Of course they're going to get mad at you, at me. Of course I'm getting mad at me because I'm the brother of that guy, and it's probably my fault because they had no one else to blame because he killed himself. I swear, that was such a horrific event, the theater shooting, and then something else happened, and then, I think something happened this morning, didn't it? Something happened this morning, Saturday morning. Not as big as the 20 kids and 6 adults, or 8 adults actually, but something did happen this morning, and I don't remember what it was. It's getting worse. It seems like that these type of killings are happening more often. And it's happening in locations that you never really hear about. I never heard of this town before. Usually when you hear about something happening, it's coming from either Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, Georgia, Washington, D.C., but now this stuff is happening in towns that you never heard of before. You're like, what city is that? I never heard of that city before. It's happening all over. Nowhere's safe anymore. People are like, well, I want to move out of L.A. because it's unsafe. I want to move out of Chicago because it's unsafe. Yeah, well, it may have the lowest crime rate wherever you're going, but something like the theater shooting happening in Montana, for God's sake. And Montana is supposedly the safest state in the union. It's in the top 10 at least. It's getting nuts, folks. It's crazy. 20 kids will never be able to experience love, never get to experience sex with a loved one, never get to experience choosing their religion, choosing their life, their career, having opinions, never able to get out of the phase of playing with toys and playing with the big toys like computers or whatever it is they want to do, like tools. They never, and experience love. I fell in love twice in my life. My wife is my biggest love. And it's an experience unlike any other. Those kids will never, ever get to experience that. Ever. They'll never get to experience going to college, joining a fraternity, joining a lot of social groups, joining book clubs. They'll never get to see the future and like how we are Microsoft Surface, Nexus 10 and all that. There's going to be more shit coming out in the future. And if any of those kids were going to be geeks, they will never get to experience the feeling of buying new technology that just came out. They will never get to experience, if they're into cars, the latest cars that comes out. The next Corvette. Or having hobbies. What if one of those people were supposed to be the next football player, the next big football player, or the next tennis player, or the fastest swimmer in the world? They'll never get to achieve any goals. That's it for them. They're gone. Sure, maybe one of them probably would have ended up a drug addict and all that, but the fact is, they will never have that choice. They'll never get to that point. It's over. And it's so sad that their life had to end so shortly. 5 to 10 years old. They'll never graduate from high school. Probably half of them haven't even been baptized yet. And I'm not a religious person at all, but I'm just saying, if their family were religious, they're probably thinking, my baby hasn't been baptized yet. So, and of course a lot of them believe that if they're not baptized, they won't be going to heaven. But the thing is, it's just sad. Any loss of life is bad. 3,000 people died in 9/11. Over 3,000. Several people died at that theater shooting. When we have plane accidents, hundreds of people die. things happen, but accidents happen. But when people are involved because of stupidity or because someone's insane or someone has a grudge against somebody, that's just plain stupid. Battery's empty. My phone's about to shut down. Peace out.